Hey everybody. So today in this video, let's talk about the Walt Disney World opening dates that were finally announced. Now, in this video, I have a very special guest. I've been on this gentleman's channel quite a few times, but this is the first time he's been on my channel. He's a good friend of mine. I want to welcome Ethan from Theme Park Wizard.
Hello, nice to finally be on your channel.
It's a pleasure, Ethan. You're a friend of the channel, and I'm really glad to finally have you on. So we're going to talk about this whole Walt Disney World reopening date stuff. So it's kind of interesting. Walt Disney World announced that they want to open it's Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, on July
Yeah.
11th. And then on
Mhm.
July 15th, they're going to be opening Hollywood Studios and Epcot, right?
Yes.
That's interesting. That's a lot further out than I actually expected from Florida. I thought we were going to get some kind of June date. What are your thoughts on this? Did it kind of blow your mind?
It did, I woke up, I actually set my alarm at 7 a.m. because it was 10 a.m. Eastern time. So I set my alarm, and unfortunately I didn't go to bed till like 4 that night. But I woke up, watched the thing so I can make my video on or article and video on it. And then they SeaWorld went first, and SeaWorld was not we're gonna open June 11th. I'm like, oh, cool. So wrote my article on that. Then they jumped right into Disney World, so I was still writing my SeaWorld thing, and I stopped and open up a new one for Disney World. And then they said July. I'm like, oh, whoa. At first I heard it incorrectly. I thought they said June 11th, but then they said July 11th. I'm like, well, that's far out. Then I was like, maybe they're trying to open Disneyland and Disney World at the same time. Then I was like, maybe they're not. Like, I don't know. Then I figured, a lot of people, I guess Disney World's bigger. So I think maybe, but I don't know how many people have like reservations and stuff. I figured maybe it's a reservation thing. Maybe because it's like a logistical thing. Also, I was thinking maybe because, in July, the NBA is going to do the season there. So maybe they're trying to figure out to close some hotels for the NBA players. Maybe they're trying to figure it all out, or maybe they just want to be safe. But yeah, this is real because Legoland, Florida's June 1st. Universal's the first week of June. Um, Busch Gardens, Tampa, I think, is in June too. So everything is in June except even the smaller Orlando stuff. So it's very interesting. But I think maybe because they're bigger and they want to be safe, or they're trying to open Disneyland at the same time as Disney World, or maybe a combination of those things.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I was very surprised by this announcement. I thought, and I've made a video on it not too long ago, when Universal Orlando said, okay, we're opening on June 5th. I'm like, that's going to force Walt Disney World to open in or around that day. Maybe not on June 5th, but like within a few weeks of that date. So I thought a June opening for Walt Disney World was just about like confirmed, like
Hmm.
99.9% chance. And then they come out and they said mid-July. I'm like, that's really weird. And then Chapek made a statement, and because they asked him, they asked Chapek,
Hmm.
why are you guys opening so much later than Universal? And he used the whole thing of like, well, we're bigger, Walt Disney World's bigger. And I
Hmm.
understand that if they were opening the whole Walt Disney World complex at once, then I would understand how size would come into it. But since Walt Disney World is opening in phases anyway, they're opening in pieces. I don't understand why Chapek even brought up the size. It really doesn't matter then if you're going to open it in phases, right? It just seems weird to me.
Yeah, it makes because I mean, Universal is smaller, but yeah, they're opening all the parks at the same time. It doesn't make sense the phase things. I actually originally just heard Magic Kingdom, like not the other three parks at all. And then it makes sense, I guess, that Hollywood Studios and Epcot are together since they're like kind of right across the street from each other. But yeah, I guess they took off I saw they retracted the hotel reservations, so I guess those have no real opening date yet. So yeah, it's really just the theme parks. So I guess the size thing kind of doesn't matter at the point. You make a good point, yeah, because you can't make a hotel reservation, you can't make a dining reservation, you can't make a fast pass reservation. Well, that's essential. But yeah, so it's really just the theme park. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure
It,
of
it's
why it's so far away then. but
it,
you
it
can't really do much.
yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. Now you touched upon you can't make a reservation, dining reservations, you can't do fast passes, and that news dropped yesterday, and that was a bombshell, and that kind of threw the fan base through for a loop.
Hmm.
That's interesting because okay, for those of you that haven't heard, who are watching, who haven't heard this, basically Walt Disney World has canceled all reservations to its theme parks, all dining reservations. They're suspending the Fast Pass Plus program. So there's massive changes going on. So I wonder if maybe the July opening is because they're going to completely revamp the way they operate. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. I mean, this sort of suggests that
Yeah.
with all the cancellations that came out yesterday with the Fast Pass Plus and the dining reservations.
Yeah, because I feel like then they have there's just like I feel like a whole bunch of stuff to figure out. So maybe that's probably why. Which makes me think so. But Disneyland doesn't have a lot of stuff to figure out because we're a locals thing. So I feel like we won't need a month. But, I mean, I feel like Disneyland could theoretically open sooner than Disney if they really wanted to. Here on Disney, we can open sooner because it's allowed to. We're in the phase 3, so we can technically open sooner. I wonder if that will happen. Probably not. But we're just we don't need fast pass. This is a good thing I'm not having fast pass plus because we don't have to deal with making fast pass 2 months in advance. So we can
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, no, we definitely have the better system. We definitely have the better well, and
Yeah.
you brought up an interesting point about Disneyland is that it is a different animal than Walt
Hmm.
Disney World. Walt Disney World is very tourism based. It's out of state,
Hmm.
out of country. A lot of, and not all, not 100%, but a huge chunk of the people that go to Walt Disney World in Orlando are planning these vacations weeks, months, even a year in advance, where Disneyland Resort isn't the case. We have a huge local annual pass fan base that goes, and it makes up a huge chunk of the attendance at Disneyland. So because of that, because of the fact that Disneyland can have an ungodly amount of annual pass holders in the park on a moment's notice, is Disney going to be more inclined to open Disneyland Resort first because they feel like they have more fiscal, financial opportunities at Disneyland, where Walt Disney World, there would certainly be a lag because once you
Hmm.
open, then you have to like sort of wait for people to get the reservations in. There's going to be that lag time. So maybe Disneyland will open first. Wouldn't that be a plot twist?
Yeah, that'd be very interesting. And as the I'm not too sure. Is the Universal Orlando a locals park or a tourist park? Or how's that work? Because they seem confident enough, open next week, even if it is a tourist park. But I feel like I don't know, or maybe I know because I know some parks. I think Islands of Adventure does have higher attendance than at least some of the Disney World parks. So I feel like it's not. I feel like if they thought it was gonna be like empty or I don't know. I feel like there must be some reason Universal thinks they can open next week, confident enough to open next week,
Yeah.
while Disney has to wait a whole month.
Well, I think part of that, and this is just my conjecture, my speculation. I think part of the reason why Universal is rushing to open or wants to
Mhm.
open real fast is a big part of that is because Disney furloughed its employees, its cast members,
Mhm.
right? They're not
Mhm.
paying cast members right now. They're furloughed.
Mhm.
Universal though is still paying their team members. So
Yeah.
Universal's like, hey, Comcast is like, hey, we're still paying our team members. Let's get them back to work. If we're gonna pay them, might as well put them to work. Where Disney is sort of like, hey, you know what? We're not paying our cast members. We're not burning through cash. We have kind of more of a comfortable window to work with here, and we can wait a month. Do you think that's possible?
Mhm.
What's going on here? What are your thoughts?
I could be. That definitely could be. But I was also when you're starting to talk, I was thinking maybe because what if this slightly could be like a fan base issue again? Remember how we on previous videos how we talked about if you change out Pirates of the Caribbean, change a scene, everyone goes crazy. But if Universal, if you take out a ride, some people don't care. Most people don't really care. I wonder if Disney thought maybe if they were the let's say first to open or open in June, maybe some of the fan base be like, that's too early. You're putting people's lives at risk,
Yeah.
type of thing. So let's be on the safe side and open in July. But Universal again, their fan base, they don't really they have people that don't care as much. So they wouldn't care as much, and they seem not to. So I wonder if like that had to play a part of it because Disney gets attacked on social media
Oh
on the
yeah.
news for anything they do. So I feel like maybe in also if they open in July, they'd say, oh, that's a decent amount of time. That's when people thought we were going to open up anyway. Don't want to open up in June because we might get attacked for trying to put people's lives at risk. So maybe in July too. What do you think?
No, yeah, that's a definite possibility. The Disney fan base is way more aggressive, to say the
Yeah.
least. And you know what? I wish the Universal fan base would be as aggressive, because if they were as aggressive as the Disney fan base, we might still have a Back to the Future ride. And I loved that
That's
ride at
true.
Universal.
And maybe an ET ride too. Oh, I never got to ride that. Still wish it was here.
I know. I wish too. I mean, those franchises are such a staple of Universal. Universal has a lot of good properties. I mean, even before Comcast came in, Universal has a lot of good properties, and man, I really do wish they could find a place for those again. But but you make a great point, though. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't want to digress too far, but yeah, you make a great point that the Disney fan base really really holds the company's feet to the fire, so to speak. you know
Yeah. But yeah, the furlough employee now I know that Universal huh, that Orlando because I thought I saw something about Hollywood like after April 19th or something, then they would furlough the people, but maybe I misread it. Are they still like are both properties still paying like all the cast members or team members?
From what I understand, Universal is still paying their team members. From what I understand, comment below though if you're watching this, if you're a team member for Universal, Orlando, or Hollywood. If I'm wrong, comment. I'm not, because I'm not 100%, but
Yeah,
it's
no.
my understanding that Universal is still paying their employees during this whole crisis.
Yeah, it
So
makes sense because Comcast, they have a lot of money. But yeah, but the dining reservation at the Disneyland, did they do that? The dining reservations for here, did they take I guess they didn't announce at opening dates they can't take announce they
yeah,
can't take away dining reservations, but
yeah, they haven't done anything like that here in Anaheim yet. It's been Florida's show right now. Everything is happening in
hmm.
Florida right now. We haven't heard anything in terms of Disneyland Resort or in terms of Universal Hollywood. I'm very, very curious. If a buddy of mine, he predicted like 2 weeks ago that Disney World was going to open in mid-July and Disneyland was going to open in mid-June, and I was like, "Oh, come on, you're crazy, man! You're thinking that Disneyland's going to open before Disney World? You're absolutely nuts!" But then his prediction came true with Florida opening in mid-July. Now I'm
Yeah.
like thinking about like, well, maybe he's on
I
something.
hope your buddy's right, because geez, I don't want to go to Disneyland in 2 weeks. I've been having dreams about that place.
I wish too, man. I wish too. I really do miss Disneyland a lot. But you know what? I do think my concern initially was that that they would have to close the parks for an extended amount of time, like into
Mhm.
2021 or something, and it would really
Mhm.
damage the company beyond repair. I'm not concerned about that anymore, because even like right now, as where we sit with the current situation, Disneyland's going to open within the next couple of months. I'm certain of it.
Oh, definitely, yeah,
Yeah. So
100%.
yeah, the company is going to be fine. It just, as fans though, like we love this place. It really sucks to have to wait and wait. I haven't been to Disneyland since like February or something. It's been a long time. For me, that's a
Yeah,
long
that's
time.
the last time I went was for Magic Happens, February 28th. I'm like, oh, I think I had plans to go back for Rise of the Resistance in March. And of course, I couldn't go. I was like, wow, this is terrible. But yeah, that's a long time. 3 months almost. It's a long
Yeah.
time. Mm, Now
It,
with the Legoland parks or the San Diego parks opening July 1st, do you think that's like a benchmark for our parks?
I didn't hear that. So Carlsbad Legoland opens July 1st.
Yeah, Legoland, SeaWorld, and San Diego Zoo and Wild Animal Park, all those got permission to open or asking them for permission to open July 1st for
Ooh.
this from San Diego County. Um, do you think that's a benchmark, or do you think people something like Universal will open like earlier or later?
If you were to ask me that 2 weeks ago, I would have said absolutely a benchmark. But then they threw us for a total loop in Florida. Because I was saying on all my videos, oh well, if Universal's opening on June 5th in Orlando, there's no way Disney World's going to wait a month, and they waited a month. And so now it's like I'm second guessing it. Like, yeah, I mean, all the other parks in California are going to be opening in July. Maybe Disneyland will wait. Maybe they'll wait till first week of August, which would be really sad though, because July
Oh, that'd
17th
be
is Disney's
terrible.
birthday.
Yeah, like, and in terms of Universal Hollywood, I was looking actually last night or 2 nights ago, and because they initially said close to May 31st. So I was just curious. I went on the website, and you're just able to like buy a ticket for June 1st. Obviously, they won't be open on June 1st, but it makes me think this weekend they have to make some sort of announcement, because you're able, if you go on the website, you're able to buy a ticket for $109 for June 1st. So you'd think they make some kind of announcement, which might influence, Disneyland's announcement within like the next few days. Or they have
Yeah.
to update the website.
Yeah. Hopefully we hear more about Disneyland. We haven't heard anything. The Anaheim, the Disneylanders are thirsty. We're thirsty right now for some sort of news. Orlando is getting all the good stuff, and we're over here waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, just all those crickets over there in downtown Disney just chirping along. That's all we hear.
Chirping, chirping, chirping. That's all they're doing over there downtown Disney.
So why do you think now that because Orange County got the restaurants and shops that are open? So why do you think specifically that downtown Disney or Disney doesn't want to at least partially reopen downtown Disney like they did with Disney Springs?
I guess the only explanation I could think of is that I guess they're just not ready. I guess they need to kink out all the logistics of it. And like if you notice all the other parks, like Shanghai, Disneyland,
Mhm.
and Disney Springs, they have all these stickers on the ground with stand here, don't stand there, that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So it's possible that Disneyland has to work all that out. They gotta print all these stickers, all these markings, get everything ready. So maybe they're just not ready yet. Maybe they're still working on all that whole process, and that's what's holding it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, that could be, and also maybe yeah, the parking. Although yeah, because I figured you know, geez, what if they might require? Do you think they'll require a reservation to get into downtown Disney? I just feel like since like we discussed, out of all the Disney parks, like I feel like with the most locals type of park, I feel like the minute they announce downtown Disney open, I feel like there'll be like 50,000 cars trying to go in there. So I feel like
Yeah.
you might even need a reservation just to get in downtown Disney for a while.
That's how Anaheim, that's how Disneylanders roll. We go hard. We go big. When when it opens, it's gonna be crazy. I just know it. It's gonna be absolutely bonkers. Because Florida and Florida is very, like I mentioned earlier in the video, Florida is very tourism based, and a lot of that tourism spills into a lot of that tourism spills into Disney Springs, right? But without that
Mhm.
tourism, there's not a whole lot of that, going into that shopping district. But we don't really have that here. Yeah, we have tourism. It's Disneyland. Of course, there's out of state,
Mhm.
out of country, but not like Florida. We have a lot of locals. So I think when downtown Disney opens, it's gonna be like there's gonna be huge demand. There's gonna be a lot of people trying to get in. You know?
Mhm. Yeah, I- yeah, maybe that's good. Maybe there's also, yeah, they're probably trying to figure how all that would work out too, because like which parking lots open, and then they might even have to open like the Toy Story parking lot. Like that's insane. Oh, I just hope it's soon though. It's been so long. March 16th to May 29th. That's over 2.5 months.
Yeah, it's been long. I think it's time. I think it's time to really start. They need to really start looking at reopening soon. Within the next couple of months at least. I really think they should try to open before the end of summer, which I would consider like before Labor Day. in
Mm.
September. I mean, I would
Yeah,
hope that
definitely.
Disneyland's open by then, but
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see though. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Now, on a
Yeah.
side note, because on your channel, Theme Park Wizard, you do a lot of like on my channel, I focus so much on Disneyland and Disneyland Resort.
Mhm.
I dabble here and there with Universal, but you dive right in. You do a lot of Universal.
Mhm.
On a side note, have you seen the aerial shot of Super Nintendo World in Japan? Have you seen that Have you seen that picture yet?
Oh yes, I've seen it. Looks fantastic. I can't wait for ours next year. It looks super cool. I like how you enter on the Princess Peach Castle and you go down and up the multi levels. Looks super like cool and like compact and immersive. Like you're in there and then you just forget where you are.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was really, and I'm gonna post a picture here so you guys can see while I'm talking, and you can kind of get an idea of what I'm saying. But I love the way that the Super Nintendo World, like you said, it's very compact. The walls are very high. The entrance to the land is very controlled. You go through that tunnel and you're in the land. It's
Mhm.
very much once you're in there, you're in there. You're not at Universal anymore. It's
Mhm.
attempting to do what they did with Batu, and
Mhm.
I think from what I can see from the aerial shot, they're going to succeed in that. It looks extremely immersive the way that when you're in there, you're just consumed in this Mario world, and I think it's gonna be great. Now we're getting that here in Hollywood, right?
Yes, we are in 2021, and I don't know if you saw, like, it was a couple months ago, but there's a video going around from one of the people in Japan that they are testing those the clouds, like on the Yoshi ride. I guess they have these massive cloud cutouts, and they like kind of move back and forth like this, like in the game. And in the picture, you can't tell 'cause it's a picture, but I feel like what it really is, it will add that dynamic element to it. It will be super, super, like even more immersive because it'll be super dynamic, super like all the kinetic energy. That's the word I was for in
Yeah,
the
no,
land.
yeah, I completely agree, Ethan. Like the kinetic energy, it looks like the kinetic energy in that land is going to be insane with all the little Yoshis, and then you have like the
Hmm.
clouds and the weird. It
Hmm.
just looks so cool. It looks really, really cool. And I'm a product of the '80s. I was a kid in the '80s. I grew up on the Nintendo, the old school Nintendo. I was obsessed with it, um, and Super Nintendo too. So it'd be really cool to finally be able to step into that world. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think here in Hollywood we're getting the Mario Kart ride, not the Yoshi ride. But then eventually the Donkey Kong coaster, which is super cool too because of the blueprints of the Donkey Kong coaster. You There's like two tracks, there's a fake track and a real track. And the real track is hidden underground and you're on the mine cart. And you're on the fake track, that's all what you see, but the fake track is like breaking, so you like hop over, like you're like hopping over these broken pieces of track. So it
Wow.
makes so it makes it look like you're just in the on the game the mine country level. And it looks like you're about to like crash, but the real track's underneath you, so you're really not. But you look like you're on this Indiana Jones type adventure, hopping across these, like hopping in the air, literally, with of these over fake pieces of track. That looks super, like super well done, I must say.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. I can't wait for it. It's going to be incredible. So, Ethan, thank you so much for coming on today. I do appreciate it, man. I'm going to have you on more. I've been on
Yes.
your channel a bunch of times. I want to bring you on here more often. For those of you watching, I'm going to link up above again his channel. Check him out. Subscribe to him. He does content not just on Disney. I mean, he does Universal. He does Six Flags. He does parks overseas, like in other countries and international. He does everything
Everywhere.
everywhere. He does a lot of Knott's Berry Farm content. So he does a lot of good stuff. So give him a subscribe. Ethan, before we leave, where else can they find you?
On Twitter at theme_wizard and on Instagram at theme_park_wizard.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Ethan. And thank you all very, very much for watching. And as always, have a, you know what? Have a phantasmic day. That's what you say, right, Ethan?
That's me. Have a fantastic day.
Have a good one, guys.